What did he do in Shedaloogoo? What did he say in Shedaloogoo? What would you do in Shedaloogoo? What would you say in Shedaloogoo? Broadcasting from a real shed in England.
Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of Shedaloogoo. So much to pack into this episode, no time for waffle. It's an interactive programme where I want you to get involved. And so let's start straight away with this.
Who am I?
You've got just 1 minute to work out who am I. And I've got 1 minute not to cock it up. So this one's pretty difficult, so going to start. There we go. He was born on the 7th of January 1985 in Stevenage, Hertfordshire, England, and he was widely reported to be named after American sprinter Carl Lewis, but this person said it wasn't the case. In his early life, his father bought him a go-kart at the age of 8, and he began winning races with his little go-kart. He said that if he didn't end up in the job that he ended up with, that he would have played for, I think it was Arsenal FC, because he played in the school football team and also the school cricket team. He was named the BBC Sports Personality of the Year in 2000 and something or other. Do you know what, I really just wish I hadn't just jumped. I told you I'd cock it up. Yes, whichever year it was. And oh, he also appeared on TFI Friday with Chris Evans. That minute went really fast. Oh my goodness, get me out of here. Ah!
Over to you, over to you, over to you in Shegaloo. Over to you, over to you, over to you in Shegaloo.
Love the fact that you get in touch with the programme, and of course this is the part where it's over to you. And what could be better than somebody sending in a video, and the crazy tune at the beginning, what does he do in Shedaloogoo, certainly has kind of got inside your head. And it was really good when Nikki sent in this following video of her daughter Flo doing the Shedaloogoo tune. Yay! Well done, Flo Hopkins, for a absolutely spot on rendition, and I love the moves. You've got the moves, girl. And other comments come from around the world. Thank you to Igor, I can't even pronounce your second name, from the Ukraine, and he said, thanks for this episode, absolutely brilliant. Meanwhile, Denise got in touch again and she said, thanks for the shout out mention. I must admit I laughed all the way through the ghost thingy again, and while I did, Sven ghost that tune. He thinks it might be Bastille, Pompeii, yeah, you know, but if you close your eyes, yeah, that one. And by the way, apart from the ghost, my faves are Fascinating Fact and Out and About. It's edutainment the way I like it, crisp, short and non-waffly. And you finally did it. You snuck in some Spice Girls. Viva forever. Yay! Keep up the insaneness. I will. And glad you enjoyed it. And yes, that was on the Shedaloogoo lyrics. It was Viva Forever by the Spice Girls. The #1 fan of the show, Gail Dalton from Ireland, got in touch again, and she was heartbroken with episode 3, not because it was rubbish or anything, obviously not, but she said, I was unable to play it this week. And then later in the day she messaged and said, finally got to view this episode this evening. There was a problem with my phone getting YouTube. Anyway, I thought I was having withdrawal symptoms. Another fabulous episode. I couldn't name Ghost that tune, but I think it was something by Bob Geldof. Nice try. I didn't see Golly, and I'm guessing it's because I'm so tired I'm watching the video with one eye shut. Well, it is late and well past my bedtime. keep up the zany antics in Shedaloogoo. So thank you, Gail, once again, and we'll be hearing from Gail later in the programme because she sent in a joke, so that's going to be featuring in our Shedaloogoo joke of the day. Thank you to Myron Bartlett, who said in the Who Am I, he said, I got to the last 17 seconds before I realised who you were talking about. So well done, Myron, because it took quite a few guesses by people to work out who I was. And Martin, who messaged on Twitter, said that he thought that Ghost, that tune, was something by Robbie Williams. It wasn't. Ghost, that tune, wasn't Robbie Williams. And he said he'd watched at Rob Macker's Mad Show Shedaloogoo episode 3, obviously not close enough, as didn't spot Golly. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show, hopefully there, where Golly was, because he flummoxed everybody. You're used to him just kind of like being in the shed. Well, I'll be honest, I forgot to include Golly. This isn't including Golly, that's Golly, but I included him here. So I snuck him in. So that's why Martin and Gail and others didn't spot Golly, because, well, it was a bit of a trick one last week. I will try and keep it simple this week. I am going to make it blindingly obvious. Meanwhile, been contacted again by Tiswas Online. Hello guys out there in ATV land. And if you get a chance, do watch Tiswas Pies again on Big Centre TV. Absolutely excellent to catch up with Tiswas. And they said, we've introduced a fellow shed making Tiswas fan to Shedaloogoo, and Nick Treadwell has made a video which you can see on YouTube called the Saturday Shed Show. Bit of a mouthful. And Nick Treadwell is Big T, and I think he's 6 now. His son is Small T in the Saturday Shed Show. So get along over on YouTube and watch that. Really good to see others doing that also. Chili Davenport said, this has made me laugh. So she enjoyed the episode. And finally for today, I'm sure there was more somewhere else, never mind. Michael Holton said about Who Am I? He said, French and sardines. You were absolutely spot on. Of course it was. Now he says, now I don't know if I'm going mad, but this is like a reoccurring bad dream. Mad, mad, mad. Yes, you are right, Michael. We are absolutely mad over here. And do get in touch, leave comments below the video. And now it's time for...
Shedaloogoo joke of the day.
As promised, we are going to mention the joke that was sent in by Gail Dalton, and I thought it was an absolutely brilliant joke, so hopefully it doesn't offend anybody. Anyway, an Englishman, an Irishman and a Scotsman were in a pub, and they were talking about their sons. My son was born on St. George's Day, commented the Englishman. So we obviously decided to name him George. I'm not going to do the accents. That's a real coincidence, marked the Scot. My son was born on St. Andrew's Day, so we decided to call him Andrew. That's incredible! What a coincidence! I said I weren't going to do accents, said the Irishman. That's exactly the same thing that happened to my son, Pancake. Thank you, Gail, for that joke. Mwah.
Meet the really happy ghost in Ghost That Tune.
who remembers Fast Eddie, Slow Eddie, Crazy Eddie, Unsteady Eddie, the Flying Plasterer, Mr Magoo on skis, Inspector Clouseau on skis, the Abominable Snowman, the champion of the underdog, the unconquering hero, a lovable loser, half-blind clot, having a bloody good laugh, the quintessential British sportsman, Eddie the Eagle Edwards. I knew you'd remember him. From the 1988 Olympic Games in Calgary, Canada, he became a hero of British sports for being completely and utterly, well, useless in some people's eyes. But he became a hero here in Britain. And you may have wondered, well, what happened to Eddie the Eagle after his, well, memorable skiing in 1988, where he had failed to qualify for the sport that he was entering into, so he decided to enter into skiing, and he ended up finishing last place for the GB team, the very first time that we had entered somebody into the sport. He was the British ski jumping record holder. Obviously that's been broken since, and he was number 9 in amateur speed skiing and stunt jumping record holder. He jumped 10 cars, 6 buses, and finishing last, of course, in the 70 metre and 90 metre events. He became famous as an example of the underdog, or heroic failure and perseverance and achievement without funding. But what happened to Eddie after the 1988 Olympics? Well, in response to the phenomenon, I used that word last time, phenomenon, I can't say it, phenomenon, yes, following the Edwards phenomenon, in 1990, the International Olympic Committee created the Eddie the Eagle rule, which required Olympic hopefuls to compete in international events and be placed in the top 30% or the top 50 competitions, whichever is fewer. So of course that meant that Edwards failed to qualify for the 1992 Winter Olympics in France, and in the 1994 Olympics in Norway he managed to get a 5-year sponsorship with, quite aptly named, Eagle Airlines, which was a small British charter company, to fund his attempts to reach the 1988 Games in Japan. The downside was he failed to qualify, but in 2008 he did make a return to Calgary, and he took part in the festivities of the Games and joined other skiers on the slope, just not actually involved in it, probably just as well because he was carrying the Olympic torch. He also became the torchbearer for the relay of the 2010 Vancouver Olympics, where he carried the torch in Winnipeg on the 7th of January 2010. And Edwards certainly kept himself busy. He released a book and a video called On the Piss. Yes, he recorded a Finnish song, and in fact he recorded another, both in Finnish, and he can't speak Finnish, but he was helped by a Finnish artist, Erwin Goodman. Edwards kept himself busy after those Olympics, and over the years you may have seen him on various advertising campaigns on television promoting sports, promoting cars, and he could command fees of £10,000 a time. However, it went downhill, a bit like his skiing, and in 1992 he was declared bankrupt as his trust fund, he said, wasn't set up properly, and so he ended up losing a lot of money. But in 2003 he graduated just up the road at De Montfort University in Leicester, and he has a degree in law. See, not so stupid. And he said that he'd always been interested in law since taking out a civil action against his trustees. So He also was busy presenting a Sunday morning show with Trish Campbell on BBC Radio Gloucestershire for a number of years, and he appeared on Channel 5's The Gadget Show, testing new ski gadgets with one of the presenters. He's been on The One Show on BBC One in 2008, celebrating a film called The Great British Underdog. In 2010, you might have seen him in the Churchill car insurance that coincided with him carrying the Olympic torch in 2010. In 2011, he returned to Slovenia and visited one of the biggest ski jumps in the world, and for the first time he brought his family with him under the ski slopes and made a successful promotional video. Eddie lands in Slovenia. And so he's certainly travelled plenty. He's appeared on ITV celebrity programme Splash, and has previously been involved with gymnastics, done some difficult dives, and was also on the BBC quiz Eggheads on a celebrity edition. And then in January 2014, he appeared on the Channel 4 TV programme The Jump, where 12 famous people took part in winter sports, and Edward jumped off the largest of 3 ski jumps, and that gave the series its name. So he's appeared on plenty of programmes throughout the years, and I think most recently there was a film a film telling his life story. Oh my goodness, why am I no good with long words? I really ought to practice this before I record it. Yes, a film has been made about his life, and when they cast the lead role, he joked that really it should have been Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise would have been better suited to play himself. So way back there in 1988, Eddie the Eagle Edwards wasn't going downhill very well, but at least his career, with plenty of dips, he's succeeded as, you know, sort of one of those lovable underdogs that never really went away. So well done, Eddie the Eagle. We wondered where you were. So well done you.
Fascinating fact!
Time for some more fascinating facts, and continuing from last time, they are animal related. And did you know, I think we did say this one last time, but butterflies taste with their feet. Can't remember if we said that. Didn't know. But anyway, butterflies tasting with their feet. Well, did you know that polar bears are left-handed? I'm left-handed too, which is good. And the one that got me this week was, did you know that snails can sleep for 3 years without eating, which explains why they are always in the garden. They could just, if I could hibernate for 3 years without eating, I'd be in heaven. So there we go, that is today's fascinating facts. Right, well, coming up next, we are going on another adventure with Dave. We're interrupting this programme for a news flash that is coming in. Hello, I'm reporting from an island where giant green people have turned up. Behind me you can see one of the giants, and they have taken over this island. In the background there is another giant. Now they're stood still at the moment, but people that are driving past are absolute. I'm sorry. We have reports of another news flash. We are going to go to this other news flash now. Hello, and you're joining me today in what can only be described as very bizarre circumstances. As you can see, there is a ladder lying on the floor. This ladder has just been stationary for a number of hours. Police are baffled as to why the ladder is lying on the floor. So I've been doing some investigating, and it seems that the police may just be screwed on this one. And eyewitnesses claim they saw nothing. It's a complete Great mystery. Sorry to interrupt the programme, but now you can resume to normal services in Shedaloogoo. Thank you. I'm the roving reporter and I'm absolutely bonkers. Oh, hang on. We're interrupting that news flash with another news flash that is coming in. We're going straight over to that news flash. Hello, I'm bringing you a report today that leaves have been falling from the trees. Leaves were spotted falling from this very tree. Reporters have been saying that the leaves turned yellow and fell off the tree. This is devastating, as we're expecting trees up and down the country to go bare for winter. We could be seeing naked trees up and down the country. This important news flash has been brought to you by Shedaloogoo. And we're interrupting that news flash of the news flash of the news flash with another news flash. Hello, I'm outside the national school that has stood here since 1840. Can you tell us what is happening? Well, quite frankly, nothing is happening. There are no pupils, no teachers, just nobody. It is a mystery as to what has happened to everybody. They've just disappeared off the face of the earth. Well, have you got any idea where they've gone? No idea. You do realise it is Sunday and the schools are closed? Hadn't thought of that. Oh well, back to you in the studio in Shedaloogoo. Normal programmes will be resumed! I'm David Blame Me, and I'm a botanist. Nice bomb. Hello, David Blame Me here, and I'm always getting into trouble in people's gardens. As you can see here, a lovely, lovely growth there, a real growth of roses. And I've been encouraging people to grow roses in their gardens. The only trouble is they don't always survive, as you can see here. And I get the blame for it. Well, I'm really, really sick of it, because I beg your pardon, I never promised you a rose garden. Thank you. I'm David Blame Me, and I'm a botanist.
SOTD, story of the day.
Story. One that went ablaze across social media across the world, where a faithful dog stayed by their companion for a week. The settler refused to abandon her friend and was eventually able to get the attention of a local family who raised the alarm. And this picture, of course, has been doing the rounds on social media. The two missing dogs, as reported by Sky News, were missing and found safe after one loyally stood for a week with her canine companion who had got trapped in the woods. Tilly, a settler, with basset hound Phoebe, they became stuck. Well, one became stuck in the old water cistern in a ravine in the Washington state in America. And the dog rescuers protection group said for nearly a week Tilly stayed by her side, with the exception of a few minutes each day where she went searching for help to rescue her friend. The pair were discovered after a member of the public raised a report that a reddish dog had been coming onto their property for several days before darting back into the ravine, and Phoebe was found inside the cistern, perched on some old rubble to stay out of the water. The concrete walls were just slightly too high for her to jump out, and then that story has been shared thousands of times around the world, and the good news is both dogs are doing well.
Shedaloogoo.
The human brain can read up to 1,000 words per minute. Not going to put that to the test, but an adult is made up of 7 octillion atoms. That is a lot of atoms. Oh, I'm out of breath just saying it.
Shedaloogoo lyrics.
You held me down, but I got up. Hey! Already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice. You hear that sound. Like thunder. Gonna shake your ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all. I see it now.
They seek him here, they seek him there, they seek him high, they seek him low. Where's Golly?
Hopefully earlier in the programme you spotted Golly. This isn't the part where you spot him. And if you did, give yourselves a pat on the back. There's no prizes, of course, because we've got no money. Actually, Golly is matching my shirt today. So if you spotted him earlier in the programme, hopefully you left a comment below this video. It's time.
Phew! Look at that view!
I pick up the camera and let's go and see what the weather's doing outside. It's grey, miserable, but dry.
Name this location!
Coming up on your screen now is a very, very famous location from a certain country in the world. And if you can name what the location is and where it is, then please do so. Actually, it's really, really hard. Very few people get it. Would you? Could you? Do you want to be the first person to get it? The location there is a famous location from around the world. I've never been there. And going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where that frustration of not being able to watch something that you want to watch. Remember Gail was saying that she couldn't watch episode 3 of Shedaloogoo because YouTube wasn't working on a phone. Well, I recently had this experience. I'm trying to watch the season finale of Wentworth. Unfortunately, I'm watching it on the Channel 5 player, and it keeps doing this. Yes! Buffering! Crucial scene! Fire scene! It's all going on! And I'm having to put up with buffering! Oh my goodness! Why me? Oh, don't you just hate it when that happens? So I know how frustrating it can be. But, well, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of Shedaloogoo, and, well, let's finish where we started off with the fabulous Flo.
What do we do in Shedaloogoo? What do we do in Shedaloogoo?
What did he do in Shedaloogoo? What did he say in Shedaloogoo? What would you do in Shedaloogoo? What would you say in Shedaloogoo?